Wednesday, November 19th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Detroit's Metal City.
Let's do this. Are you ready? It's time, once again, for Make Rim and Scott Feel Old. You ready to play this game?
All right, I'm down with this. I saw at least one thing was 10 years old today.
Oh, what are you doing? Stealing my bit?
I couldn't guess what your bit was. Scott's had this thing lately where before every show, you know, we sit down, we're like, all right, what are we going to do for the show? How about, let's talk about, I don't know, balls. What's the...
Rim likes to talk about balls a whole lot.
So I'll be like, hey, for the news, I'll talk about that tech thing, number one, that I saw on Slashdot. What's your news? And Scott will be like, it's a secret. All right, fine. Things of the day. I'm going to use that video from College Humor. How about you? It's a secret.
I just need to know what Rim's doing, and as long as I'm not doing the same thing, I don't need to say what I'm doing.
Well, apparently that just failed.
Apparently it just did. But to make you feel old anyway, Penny Arcade, as of Monday, is 10 years old.
A decade! I have not lived through 3 of them.
I was, let's see, I'm 26, almost 27, so I was 17 when Penny Arcade came into existence.
What's interesting is that Penny Arcade has been
16?
this stalwart companion to my life for much of that 10 years. Like, it's difficult for me to imagine
weird for it to
a time in my life before I read Penny Arcade.
The weirdest thing is that it's 10 years old, but I've only read it since like 99, 2000. What was it? Are they counting stuff before that as like, you know, when are they counting the starting date? Clearly
you count the same way we count Geeknights. I mean, the first episode we ever uploaded to the internet for, you know, real people, not just Visigoths and front row crewites to listen to, was on November 1st in 2005?
I think so. Or October 31st.
No, it was November 1st, and we uploaded shows for that whole week. And then that weekend, I retroactively uploaded because we'd been recording shows for like 2.5 weeks before that, just not uploading them because they were terrible. But I decided after listening to it that the October 31st episode was good, so I retroactively uploaded it.
Okay, the first actual Penny Arcade comic put on the web was November 18th, 98.
1998.
So I didn't read it though until like 99. So it took me like a year to get to it.
The 97-98 season of marching band in my high school, we played the Independence Day soundtrack when that movie was new and popular.
Wow.
You know, in retrospect, that movie wasn't really that good.
What? I kind of like Independence Day. I mean, it's not like...
All right, it had the speech, all the scenes with certain people punching people and yelling at people.
And dragging people through the desert.
Yep.
I could have been at a barbecue.
And, no peace.
Yeah, that was pretty
Bulletproof. Good. That was it. The rest of the movie was crap.
It wasn't crap. It was just a normal, average, you know...
Average what?
Because summer blockbuster action-y movie with some silliness.
But for all the action that was in it, any day I'd rather watch The Rock.
I'm not saying I want to watch Independence Day.
Or Commando.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Harry. I don't want to watch it. I got better things to do.
Independence Day lover.
Oh, yes, it's my favorite of all time.
Yeah, you know what, though? Anime will always make you feel young because anytime you're at a con and you start feeling old because you look around and you see all the, you know...
see that guy who's like, yeah, man, remember Tobor the Eighth Man? You're like, yes, I'm not old. But then you see someone who comes around and is like, Sailor Moon's old school, and you're like, no, I'm old. That guy with Tobor is just older.
I remember at Otakon, I overheard a conversation where someone was like, yeah, I only watch old school anime, you know, like Dragon Ball and Bleach. I don't like this Naruto business.
Isn't Bleach newer than Naruto?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I lump them all into that same era of anime.
Oh, God.
But I remember also, you know, Tobor the Eighth Man. I remember when some old men were talking about, I heard 8 Man, and I turn around, I see the old men. The old men who used to always be on that old fart anime panel.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, 8 Man After? And they were like, 8 Man After? They made that in like... One guy was like, I never even seen it.
Wow.
I felt real young.
It's like, hey, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, the thing you remember that's old was the remake of what I remember. That's like, yeah, I remember Astro Boy watching that in the 80s in color. Yeah, that was the remake of what I remember from the 60s. Oh, shit.
One thing I don't think our generation is quite as equipped to deal with as past generations were is the fact that the media we consume will eventually die. I mean, I've been reading Penny Arcade forever, and the idea of Penny Arcade not being there, or of Gabe and Tycho not continuing to make that strip while I live, while I draw breath, is
You just have to die before they do.
that such can easily be arranged.
I know, right? That's it. When I'll just kill you at Gabe and Tycho's funeral and toss you in with them, because of course they'll die at the exact same time and be buried together.
I think about how much media has changed in I don't know, my life. I mean, remember, we were born in the 80s. What was media like in the 80s?
It was like Voltron.
Now, what's
Combining and forming together,
when
but
we're
not staying
60,
together.
What's it going to be like? Are we just going to be the old men going, yeah, Ava and Cowboy Bebop and Escaflowne?
We're already those. What are you talking about, right?
Are we still?
Sesame Street when Snuffleupagus was still invisible.
Are we still going to be those old guys when we're 16, 70? Will we ever find a new anime to talk about in those glowing terms?
Well, the question
Will
is...
anything beat Macross, Do You Remember Love? Or Cowboy
A lot of
Bebop.
things beat Do You Remember Love. I'm not as enthralled with it as many people seem to be.
It's a great movie.
It's not so great.
I think it's great. I think, in fact, it was more succinct and thus more powerful.
No, the TV show is far superior in every fashion. It was just
Anyway.
another bad compilation that diminished, the quality of having an extended TV series. Anyway,
I got a little bit of news here before Scott brings up the much bigger and much more commentary-worthy news. But Emily told me quite some time ago about this manga that was done by someone. I'm not going to go through the whole story because eventually we're going to review this business. But it was called Hetalia, and it is about...
what? How do you spell hit? Like hitting?
Like hetare? Useless? Well, another way to say useless.
Okay.
From the way you're thinking of.
Like Italia?
And
like
Italia like
Italian?
Italy. This was a manga that basically took all of the socio-political powers of the World War I era.
Oh, I remember that. I thought it was just like some fan doujinshi kind of work and not a real deal.
Anthropomorphize them into pretty boys who then argue with each other and fight, and it's generally hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that, but I thought it was like a doujinshi and not a real deal production.
Well, yes, that's the news. You see, it was basically like a little comic, doujinshi kind of thing. One thing led to another. The anime is coming out.
Oh, man. That's pretty hot.
I am so excited about this for two reasons. Because one, it proves that the amateur media can be the gateway to the professional media. It's happening.
That's what excites me about it. Because think about all the, anything that's on the same level as doujinshi, but in the U.S., things like people making YouTube videos and stuff, right? Any attempt to take that and then actually go big with it sort of doesn't work. It always comes off ham-fisted or doesn't really make it, as big as could be. If we created a sporting league in the backyard and started videotaping it, it wouldn't suddenly get on TV and be, competing with the NFL time slots. It couldn't happen.
But I saw basketball.
I know, right?
Actually, I didn't. I knew better. I've never seen that movie.
I didn't even know such a thing existed.
What? It was made by Trey Parker, I think.
He made something I didn't see?
I don't know if he actually
Impossible.
made it. You know what? I'll look it up because all I remember is that movie was bad.
Anyway, the fact that someone can just draw a doujinshi and then have it become an anime, people would always say, "Oh man, how do I? I have this great idea for an anime. I want to make it happen." Well, here's what you do: draw a doujinshi of it, and if it's good, then an anime will be made. Maybe. There you go. Now we can answer that question very easily. Before it was like, ha, that's impossible. Now we have an answer.
But two, I'm excited because one, it got rave reviews from Emily and all the other people who've read it or know about it. But I like the idea. I mean, it's the main character.
It is a clever idea.
Is Northern Italy, and he's useless, and he's and everyone
fat with a big mustache.
No, they're all pretty boys.
Oh,
everyone's a pretty boy.
But how does that work? Mussolini was just so fat.
It's well before Mussolini came into the picture.
Okay.
Do you know anything about what was going on in the world before World War One?
Oh, I thought you said World War II. Never mind.
No, I said, post World War One, World War One-ish.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It leads up to World War Two.
So the Kaisers in there?
Kaisers are there, but they're all pretty boys.
Oh. They have pointy hats?
No.
Oh.
Like they...
Who wants to read this? No Kaisers with pointy hats?
So you haven't seen this at all?
No, I haven't.
All right, I'll say this.
I just remember seeing I saw the homepage, but I didn't actually see the comic.
As long as they don't doofus up the anime, this is going to be one of those greats that we're going to watch and love like Dameko Dobutsu.
Oh, it's going to be that kind. Oh, yeah.
That is my hope.
That's my favorite kind.
If they make it that kind of show,
Lately.
I'm all about it. Or if they do like the Azumanga Daioh treatment where, because they take the kind of...
Or the treatment of the show we're going to talk about today.
Yes, same kind of treatment where you, instead of trying to turn the comic into a long, overarching, possibly serious, or just standard show, you turn it into the kind of comic show like Azumanga Daioh. Azumanga Daioh was great because of that. It was a bunch of vignettes that were just set in the awesome world of Azuma.
Kyohiko Azuma.
Anyway, check out Hetalia, and we will probably be
You're going to have to
reviewing
spell that because I still can't figure out.
Hetalia.
Okay, because the way you say it just sounds like you're saying Italia.
Hetalia.
All right. Whatever.
Hetare, Hetalia, because Italy.
But
is
but you're not.
useless.
It sounds like you're saying hit, but the H is very quick and silent, so it sounds like you're just saying Italia, like Italy.
Fine. Hetalia.
All right. Whatever.
Okay.
So, okay. This news is just too crazy to possibly not say anything about. So I got to go over all these details one at a time, and I don't know where to start. So let me just pick a place to start here. By randomness. Crunchyroll, the evil Crunchyroll, right? We hated them so much. Why did we hate them so much? Well, Crunchyroll started out as basically a YouTube clone that only had anime and mostly copyrighted anime that was uploaded by users, and they were making money off of that. They even got venture capital. Basically, someone set up a business that does nothing but break the law and made money off of it. Man, if I knew you could get away with that, I wouldn't be here right now, that's for sure. And so these assholes who we don't like at Crunchyroll, got the venture capital, and then now that they had money, they didn't need to be illegal anymore, so they started going legit and whatnot. And now they're going super legit. On January 8th, Crunchyroll will stop accepting user-submitted videos, and they will only host videos approved by copyright holders, Gonzo, Toei, 2 other Japanese copyright holders of anime that are not listed. So that's the first thing. The second thing, Crunchyroll is also going to provide, right, if you pay a subscription fee, so basically you subscribe to Crunchyroll, right, you'll be able to watch Naruto about an hour after it's on TV in Japan. So it's on TV in Japan. 60 minutes later, it'll be on Crunchyroll. And if you pay a subscription fee, you could watch it on Crunchyroll with English subtitles anywhere in the world. All right, so the companies are starting to make a move here, obviously. The fan subs better watch out.
I mean, remember way back when Digi-subs and all these things first started coming out, and then there were all the copyright issues, and what everyone always said, what every anime fan at the time was saying, was that, hey, the reason we pirate is because, price aside, because they'd say, price, whatever. I'm watching the show. I want to watch it when it's out in Japan. Why do I have to wait, 6 months, a year to see it in the US and wait for some dub I don't even want to hear in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
If the anime companies would just allow me to pay a modest fee to see the shows as they come out, subtitled, I would gladly pay it.
Well, here's the chance to walk the walk because,
But I don't like Naruto.
I know, me either. But the thing is, it's like, different people, when they talk about copyright, might, side on yes or no or whatever, but they always have, everyone sort of has a different reason or a different excuse they come up with. One person will say, oh, it's not digital. Another person will say, oh, it's DRM'd. Another person says, it's not subtitled. Everyone says something different. Well, there's a bunch of people out there who did say that they don't want to wait. So for the first time possibly ever, someone, even though it's the shitty Crunchyroll, is saying, all right, put your money where your mouth is, bitches. Here it is, 1 hour after it's up in Japan with subtitles. Are you going to pay for it? And I could see it going both ways. On the one hand, I think that there are people who just wanted it quickly and did have the money, and I think they will pay and watch it. On the other hand, I still think that a lot of the people watching are high school kids with no money, and they won't pay under any circumstance, even if it was just, the whole thing immediately live and download in the perfect quality for a penny. They wouldn't pay because they don't have a penny.
Well, that's where the second part of this comes in.
Yes, exactly 7 days after an episode airs, right? So it's on TV Tokyo in Japan. 1 hour later, it'll be on Crunchyroll, and people who pay monthly fees can watch it.
I'm curious as to the quality of these subtitles.
Yeah, 7 days after that. Yeah, what can you subtitle in an hour? They must be working pretty closely to get the subtitles. 7 days after that, it will be able to watch the episode of Naruto free on Crunchyroll, but also on Hulu, Naruto.com, and a whole bunch of other websites. So it's pretty much going to be, hey, if you want to watch Naruto, the last week's episode of Naruto, it'll be free to watch online almost anywhere.
Now, I assume there will be ads here.
I assume there's going to be ads. And, actually, I look at this and I say, you know what? This is someone, even though it's stupid Crunchyroll yet again, right? Part of it. Someone is actually smart and in control, right? Look, Cartoon Network kicked all the anime off. Toonami's dead, right? They can't get their anime on TV. It's just not working. It's not going to happen, right? Okay. The fan sub people are still downloading. They're still out there. You still see Naruto headbands at every convention. The Naruto fans are still out and about, right? They're all over the place. They have not really gone away. The manga sells. The anime DVDs do not sell. So they have this anime property, which is the core of Naruto, this animation, right? And then the manga's right behind that. They can sell anything that says Naruto on it. Naruto backpacks, Naruto shoes, Naruto headbands, Naruto figures, Naruto cards, Naruto video games. But they can't actually sell the anime. They can't sell it on TV. They can't sell DVDs. They can't sell digital downloads. They can't sell it. No one's buying it. But they're still making it, and they're still paying for it with sponsorships on, the ads that they show on Japanese television are still paying for this anime to be made. So why not, a week later, put it on the internet, and make a few bucks extra off a couple crappy ads?
Well, it gives you a couple of things. One, it gives you the moral imperative to get rid of the fan subbers now because their last excuse is gone.
Yeah, I mean, what excuse do the fan subbers really have?
We want to have it for free.
We want it subtitled, and we want it for free. Well, you have both now. We want it immediately. Well, you can get that if you pay some money. Otherwise, it's a week late. It's like, how much faster do you really need it? Is it going to make that much of a difference in your life?
I foresee, the thing is, the only thing they're not doing yet that I could see them doing is having a third pillar of this. And not like Nintendo's fake third pillar, but a real third pillar. If the show was on immediately for the pay, and then later for free, but there's the third option, not DVDs, but of buying unencumbered DRM-free versions that you can then watch on your iPhone and whatever.
That is the one problem with this, is by streaming, there's no way to watch Naruto on the iPhone or anything like that. So you pretty much have to be at a computer.
But because it's out there free anyway, I think that'll really cut down on a lot of the casual piracy. So if you're doing it anyway, you might as well sell a really easy to watch iTunes thing.
Well, I think
even if people pirate it,
yep.
Who cares?
And I think even if it does not cut into the fan subbers, right? If they still prefer their fan subs to the official release, whatever. I think what it's gonna do is gonna get there's only, you go to look at a torrent. There's only like a few thousand people on these torrents, right? There's a lot more than a few thousand Naruto fans. I mean, Otakon has 30,000 people at it, right? So
and like 80% of them watch Naruto.
Yeah, all of the Naruto fans in the world, only a fraction of them get fan subs. So I think what's going to happen is all the people who are not nerdy enough to even use BitTorrent, which is stupidly easy, are going to go this way. And you're actually going to get a lot more Naruto watchers. You're going to increase the Naruto audience, and we're going to go back to what the model for anime and such should be, which is put this stuff out there so that people watch it and follow it, and then make your money by selling them things that, actually are not piratable, like Naruto headbands.
Well, it's the same business model that South Park is using, where you have replace the pay to watch it right away with watch it right away on TV where the advertisers pay. But that's just one step away. I mean, that's still within the grasp of the anime industry. The anime industry just needs to, I don't know, prove that it can play with the big boys and actually market to Americans. Average Americans, normal people, not just anime fans.
Well, we said it a million times, right? Anime was big. If you look at the bigness of anime in this country, when it's on TV, it's big, and when it's not on TV, it's not big. It's all about putting it on TV, kids coming home from school, watching it when they get home instead of watching something else, And then going out and, I had Transformers and Voltron stuff when I was a kid because it was on TV when I got home. I would have never paid for Voltron on tape. Not in a million years. Not, now I've got Voltron DVDs, but that's, besides the point.
It's not tape.
It's not tape, that's for sure. But it's all about if making money off the stuff. When they put, back in the day, when they put G.I. Joe on TV, they weren't, the ads that went on TV with G.I. Joe were just there because they could. They didn't expect to make money off the show itself. They expected to make money by selling you G.I. Joe figures. That's how you make money with television. That's how it works, especially kids' television. Even Sesame Street will sell you Tickle Me Elmo. They don't give a shit, and they're public TV that's paid for by us and the government and whatnot.
So what I really foresee happening now is, I don't know if the mainstream, on TV with ads again is going to happen, but I definitely see this kind of fixing the problem where there are two classes of anime fans, the younger fans or the casual fans who aren't willing to pay, and then, the people like us who buy DVD box sets, because shows that are on right now, the shows that appeal to the young, moneyless kids are the shows that'll be on Hulu all the time to watch right now. All the current stuff coming out that the kids really care about. The classics, the shows that are old and great that we want to watch, or the shows that
are already on DVD box sets.
Or the shows that just aren't popular enough initially to warrant this sort of attention, but then, later people want. Those will be taken up by the DVD box sales, and I think in the end we're going to have a kind of... I think balance has been restored to the force.
Maybe, because if there's a show, it's just like you said, if there's a show that's popular with the kiddies, a kid's show, you can't make money from kids. You have to sell them, by selling them video, because they have infinite video and infinite time to watch it. You can only make money from kids by selling them toys and video games and stuff.
But like Ghost in the Shell, DVDs sold just fine from what I could tell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell, the anime sells itself, and if you give the video of that away for free, you can't sell too many Ghost in the Shell toys because Ghost in the Shell fans are not so much the toy buyers, really. So I hope that's the way it goes, and I hope they realize that just, when you release an anime, it's slim case, it's either go with the one model of free video and then sell merchandise, or go with the other model of immediate slim case box set, skip all the other possible release models, because no one wants that shit.
Yep, I guess the only other thing would be for shows that don't get kind of the full online treatment. If I were licensing stuff, I would always make the first 4 episodes of any show, I guess except a 4-episode show.
4-episode FOAV, sorry.
Available for streaming if it was a show that I was going to try to sell DVDs for.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Like, that's not even... Like, the fact that isn't already done amazes me.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I think, eventually, when DVDs are sort of done, you're going to have to make some sort of, download to watch in the iPhone action.
Yeah,
hopefully
but you know what?
Without DRM.
I've gotten to the point in my life where there's enough media that I will I will not stand for DRM. On streaming stuff, it's fine because I'm streaming it. I don't care. But any media I download, no amount of DRM is acceptable to me at this point because there is always unencumbered media that I already have that I can watch in lieu.
Well, I mean,
of DVDs
media. Technically have DRM.
Effectively, they don't.
I know, right? But what I do with DVDs these days, I rip them to my iPhone format and then put them away and don't look at them anymore. And then we just watch them by either streaming them from my computer down to the living room, or I watch them on my iPhone. We don't actually really put discs in the DVD player so much anymore, except for when the DVDs are really old and shitty and difficult to rip.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, the best DRM in the world. Make shitty chapters on your DVD so no one wants to bother figuring that shit out.
I can say one thing, though. I felt a disturbance. It was as though a million whiny fan subbers cried out at once and then were suddenly silenced.
Well, we'll see. Most of the shows that, I guess
no, they're gonna keep fan subbing. I know the way these people work. They're gonna keep fan subbing and keep pushing and keep trying to do their thing. But one, I think there's gonna be a lot more legal pressure coming down on them. Two, they're gonna lose the tacit support, or at least the tacit indifference of the kind of average anime fan who isn't a poor punk kid.
See, it's so weird, right? It's like, it's almost as if that when the free Naruto streaming is not available, right? The fan subbers seem bad, like, oh, they deserve some sort of legal pressure, right? In some way, they're doing, right? But it's like, imagine if I started recording South Park on my TiVo and then putting it on BitTorrent. What? And it's online for free. Who gives a shit? No one's even going to download from me, right? But somehow...
They're going to evolve separately. People who stay with the fan sub community are going to evolve, much like the Ousters, into a brand new breed of fan sub watching kids with different fan subs, different words. Because eventually, if that fan sub documentary is true, fan subs are just going to be Romanized versions of the raw Japanese.
I don't know if this really counts as thing of the day, but whatever. There's a website here, Den of Geek, and they made a little article, right? And the article was called, I think, 70 comics that are being made into movies. And they went on to list 70 comics that are currently being made into movies and the year that they are expected to be released in. Then later they added 5, and I noticed that even after adding 5 and making it 75 comics being made into films, right? Surrogates is still not on the list, and it says here pending updates, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 13 pending updates, and Surrogates isn't even listed there. So there are like 100 comics currently being made into movies.
But not Surrogates, which was basically written so that Bruce Willis could be in it.
I think Surrogates is being made into movies. It's not on this list on this webpage, is what I'm saying.
What kind of list is that?
I don't know. It's a pretty long, fucking crazy list. There's a lot of things on here, and I would be surprised if 25% of the things in this list actually appeared in movie theaters.
So where did they get their list from? Did they just make it up?
I think they just, they have a link in every single one of these.
A link to what? Because I point out that when I was reading the Wikipedia article...
The links go to places like Variety.com... aceshowbiz.com.
I don't know.
A lot of the comicbookresources.com. Most of them are to Variety.com.
Scott, I point out the time we were talking about the tower in Seattle, the Space Needle. And there was that statement that was interesting about the guy punching out a bear. And it was, in fact, cited. Multiple sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dubious of this list.
I am, but the point is that this is still a pretty crazy thing. And if this list teaches you anything, right, is that just buy some freaking comics while you go to the movies. You can get all these things in their original forms well in advance for a lot less money.
Well, because movies and comics are different media that offer a different experience.
But it's like, really, we should do a show on the whole remake thing, because on the one hand... Right?
I don't have nearly as much vitriol as you do.
Well, it's not really just vitriol. It's the fact that, we have, these different mediums of artistic expression, right? And, there is something to taking the same core idea and expressing it in different mediums and getting, you're not going to get the exact same result. It's impossible, right? And there, things can be interesting that way. But there is also something to, certain mediums, right? Like movies, there's a lot, less original movie creations happening, at least it seems to be, than there used to be.
Yes, I was about to say, you're begging questions already.
Whereas, in comics, it seems like they're very... a less percentage of remakes going on in that medium.
I would argue that every continuing issue of X-Men is a remake of X-Men.
I'm just counting, titles across the board, not the
X-Factor, X-Force, Excalibur.
But that's where those things were originally created. It was in comics. It's not a remake. It's a sequel.
But if different media can present different kinds of messages in different ways, then sometimes it's just remakes are for the better. Like, for example, Lord of the Rings. The books are good and they're important and they're iconic and they're well written and they're great. But I will admit that I enjoyed the movies more.
Well, you're stupid. I mean, the movies are great and all, but the book is where it's at.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'll admit openly that I skipped about half of the second book when I
Maybe
was a
that's
kid.
why you didn't like it.
They were walking, and then I skipped a bunch and they were still walking.
Yeah, that was the important part in between was the poetry that you missed.
I've read the poetry. It's just, it didn't, what it conveyed was not the same thing that the movies conveyed. And
No, it was not.
yes, and I didn't enjoy the books that much. I thought The Hobbit I enjoyed a lot more than The Lord of the Rings.
I actually enjoyed the Silmarillion the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Reading the Silmarillion was not terribly entertaining. It was almost like reading a Wikipedia article about a fantasy world.
Well, the thing is, it's you got to break. If you take all of its parts together, right, as one unit, which it's the one book as a whole, it is sort of like a Wikipedia article. But if you treat these separate parts as almost their individual novellas, then it comes across completely differently. Like that beginning part of that's sort of like the Genesis story of Middle Earth is like on its own is like man's, and then you're like the whole story of Morgoth and a giant war with 1,000,000 Balrogs and 1,000,000 dragons and
See,
man.
I don't find that, because the thing is that sort of story is no better than the Dragonlance equivalent.
Well,
In fact, one could argue that Dragonlance books existed solely to give you that moment over and over and over again.
Well, the thing about The Lord of the Rings, right, books
is that they were well written.
Well, yeah, is not in what the content of the stories were, even though at the time that was relatively original content, whereas today we have that same exact content repeated 1,000,000 times in aforesaid Dragonlance books. But in that the poetic fashion in which it was written is the important thing.
Oh yes, and I very much
Rings.
I adore the poetic fashion, but I guess my point is that
I need a synonym for poetry to sound less
one
broken record.
book's worth of it was enough for me, and I enjoyed the
See,
Hobbit.
I could even read the tiny Tom Bombadil short story that is separate from everything else and still be rocking the house.
Well, that story's awesome. Why don't you then go and read the collected works of Keats before we continue?
Because I still have to read the collected works of Milton.
Do you actually intend to read the works of Milton?
I don't know, but what I do know is that pretty much.
What drove you to read the works of Milton?
Well, I was about to tell you.
I'm just curious because it came up in Hyperion.
I know, all over the place, right?
Did you hit the word Milton-esque near the end and suddenly think,
No,
hey,
no, it wasn't that.
Okay,
it's that all over the place throughout my entire life, I've encountered such and such works of Milton, Milton, and I'm like, I don't even know who Milton was. And I think, how could he just have one name? He doesn't have two names. He only has one name. He's like Homer, just one name. And somehow he's mentioned everywhere. Must be important. He must have some works somewhere that I can read to be mentioned so many places. But maybe I should read them.
But what I would point out is that, one, you have access, Scott, to infinite information, more information than you could process in your entire lifetime.
Yep.
At any time.
Yep.
At any point in your life, you could have looked up who Milton was and what he wrote.
But at no point in time was I simultaneously thinking about Milton, and also in the access of Wikipedia having nearby.
And I also have to say, while Milton is very important, I have not come across people referencing Milton that often.
He was referenced enough for me to remember his single name.
People reference Dante a lot more, and I'll be honest, I did not enjoy the Divine Comedy.
I did not read any Dantes.
Anyway, my thing of the day, to get right into the...
but I know more about him than I know about Milton.
The very important main bit here. The show that I've been dying to talk about.
Oh, dying. In hell?
In Shikoku. Space Invaders.
Shikoku?
Space Invaders. This is
right, your thing of the day.
This is a touching music video. It's touching. The music's good. The story that there is, it's a music video, is good. And it's Space Invaders. I like the song a lot. I like this a lot. I don't know what else I can say except that you should watch it and feel touched.
Touched?
Not in the way that Krauser-sama will touch you.
The invader, he invades you and he touches you in a...
Krauser invaded something
much like
somewhere.
the most famous early episode of South Park.
Okay. So tonight we're
That's how
talking
invaders
about
touch.
a show that I'm hoping none of you have seen because you should go out and watch it. It's short. It's pretty good. It's fresh. So all you people saying we don't talk about new anime, here we go. Detroit Metal City.
Detroit Metal City.
AKA the wacky hijinks of Krauser-san and his merry band.
And Krauser-tan.
Oh my god.
So lately, I've been really big on like these sort of like these shorter anime shows, like they've existed before. There are old shows like Ipatsu Kiki Musume where it's a bunch of short episodes, maybe not even a bunch, maybe just like 10 of them, right? And instead of going all out with a 26 episode series, and this is usually done for strictly like short comedy things. Look at a show like Damako Dobutsu, right? A lot of short episodes that are mostly just, quick, short, funny stories. They don't have a lot of, those quiet scenes of looking at the sky for 30 seconds.
Hey, wait, what about that really bad, I will not name it because it was so bad, Nazi show that was all short episodes?
Erda? That was just 4 episodes?
That I wasn't going. If you say the name 2 more times, we'll have to watch it.
Erda? No, we're not watching
You'll
it.
summon it from hell.
Well, I just, that kind of show, Gag Manga Biori, like these shows that are just based on gag manga, many of them, and translated into short episodes they're really up my alley, and I'm always looking out for them. Now, when DMC first appeared, I first found out about it because I download number 1 of every fan sub, and I saw Detroit Metal City, and I said, well, got to download that.
See, I guess I already knew about it from Emily, but, there's live action and the anime and the manga and...
So basically the deal is there was this manga, right? And I think the manga is still going. I've read all 5 currently published volumes in scanslation form. The scanslations weren't that great, but I understood what was going on, mostly because I had seen the anime. And Studio 4C took the first 2 volumes of the manga and translated each and every chapter directly to anime. This is a direct... Like, we were just talking about how remakes and other mediums, how you can't make the exact same thing. They came as close to making the exact same thing as you can possibly do, right? You watch the anime and hold up the chapter of the manga in front of you, and every single panel is animated, and they look exactly the same, and they didn't animate anything that wasn't in a panel basically at all. And no panel is missing from the animation.
Well, much of
and
it
the
is
dialogue is almost identical.
Much of it is animated in this, I don't want to say sparse, but it's often, it looks like a manga panel. Like you had this perspective of a scene, and then they've kind of animated the characters moving around within that one scene.
Yep.
But it's like an animated manga panel. But
so, for example, if there was a scene where someone's waving a guitar back and forth, in the manga, you see the person standing there with the guitar over their head and motion lines to indicate waving, maybe a blurry guitar in 3 places, right? In the anime, it's literally the same person standing in the same pose with the camera at the same angle, and the screen is sort of cut off so you don't see anything around them that wasn't in the original manga panel, and they just animate them waving the guitar back and forth while their mouth moves and a voice actor reads the line.
But that's not to say the animation is cheap, because a lot of the
This is Studio 4C, bitches.
But
this
yes,
isn't...
the concert scenes, and anytime they're kind of actually animating something as opposed to using this.
Look at the opener.
Yes. There a lot of, like, the episode we just watched a little while ago was like the concert. They animated a good deal of concert, and it would have been an awesome concert to be at.
Yeah, well, I think what was great is, let's spoil the episode, right? Well, let's tell the premise of the show, and
Okay,
then it'll
what?
make more sense.
I'm just going to read the plot summary from the Anime News Network.
Oh,
right
come
here.
on.
Detroit Metal City is
Go
a
to DMC.
quickly rising independent death metal band. They garner fame by performing wild live shows, songs filled with hate, violence, and rape. Now, they say they're filled with hate, violence, and rape.
They're filled with the words hate, violence, and rape.
Primarily rape.
And hell.
If you are not
And kill.
down with people making fun of rape and rape-related situations...
Well, it's weird. It's like, on the one hand, right, you have, things like... the works of Kazuo Koike, where in some cases rape occurs, and it's like there being a rape in a movie. It's not making fun of rape. There's a story and there's rape in it, and you can tell legitimate stories where rapes happen, right? And then you have other Kazuo Koike manga where there are just sort of gratuitous, unnecessary rapes that are not cool. You sort of, it's hard to figure out what to do with those. And you can make tasteless jokes about them. And then you have things like Rape Man, which are just tasteless all around. But in this is, I think, the one.
You're treading very carefully.
I know. It's like the way that rape is treated. It's like even. I think that maybe even someone, because I obviously never been raped, but if there was a rape joke or a joke involving the word rape that a person who had been raped could possibly in some universe laugh at, if this is not it, then it doesn't exist.
I think what might help though is that they use the English word for rape most of the time.
Do they? I can't tell.
I'm pretty sure
they use a lot of English words.
Yes. But basically, the story is really about Negishi Soichi, who is...
Shuichi?
Yes. A young guy, fresh out of school, wants to be a musician. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he finished college. He's, 20-something-ish.
He's really into Swedish pop music and the really lame kind of music.
Yeah, he likes, sort of just like happy, sing-songy, folky pop.
He listens to idol singers.
He's basically, if the dude wasn't so, like, having a crush on this girl from college, you would think he was gay. But he totally has the super crush on this girl, so there's no way he's gay.
He's just so lame. I mean, he's lame to the point that
he really likes
music,
fashion.
His lame music is lame among lame musicians.
He's got like an Amelie poster on his wall, and I like that movie, but I don't have a poster of it on my wall because I'm not gay.
He's just... I wouldn't use the word gay. I just use the word really, really, really lame. This guy is so lame.
Yeah,
and wishy-washy.
He's not lame. It's just that his interests are those sort of interests. As among the crowd of people who have similar interests, he's a cool, happening dude.
Kind of. Because remember when he goes to that coffee shop and like, hey, you want to perform? And he sings a song, and the guy who's into that stuff is like, wow.
Well, no, but the thing is, in that scene, right, it's like he's totally getting along with all the people who are hanging out there, except that his music is no good. Because that's the thing, is he's a musician. He's actually good at singing and playing the guitar. The thing is, when he plays the pop music he likes to play, he's bad at it. His pop music is no good. It's, the pop music he likes, to listen to, like, when they keep mentioning, like, I don't know if it's a real pop singer or not, but like Kahimi Kari or whatever. Some pop singing girl who they made up for the show me.
Well, you know what? Most of the reason why I think he's lame is that personality-wise, he is really lame. He's wishy-washy. He doesn't stand up for himself. He's passive-aggressive. He's kind of selfish and stalkery. He's just really not a great person, kind of annoying.
Well, I don't know. He seems to, like want good things. Like, he wants, like his brother to do well in school, and he cares about he cares about his family, and he cares about, his friends, and he has a crush on that girl.
There's definitely this darkness that is just waiting to get out of him. Because
the darkness comes out quite often.
His real job, the only job in music he could get, is being the lead singer for a horrible death metal band, Detroit Metal City.
Yeah, of course, it's, to him, it's horrible death metal. To us, it's just sort of normal metal, but it's sort of...
We've been to many concerts that were harder than this.
Yeah, the thing is, the way metal is portrayed in this show is sort of a stereotypical Kiss sort of metal. It's not. I mean, it's a little harder than Kiss and less partying, but it's definitely that sort of, oh my God, people are in a costume and the people in the crowd are moshing it and they're saying hell and rape a lot. It's scary. No, it's just, it's just music. That's how.
But at the same time, I feel, as a fan of metal, I can at least say that it takes a lot of the things that are worth making fun of about metal and makes fun of them in a way that is funny to people who like metal.
Especially the best character in the show, the president of the record label.
Hello,
Shit.
fuck! Shit!
Fuck!
The way she motivates the band is she'll be sitting there and they start playing a song. She'll be like, oh, but warning, we're going to be kind of offensive for the rest of the show.
It's weird how this show, like, basically, by being so overt in its offensiveness, is not offensive.
It's like, actually kind of inoffensive because it's so offensive.
Yeah, it like neuters the offensive things they're saying by saying them in such an immature, cheap, and shallow way that they carry no weight that they would usually carry.
But, like, here's an example. They're in the recording studio making a CD, and he has to play his part, and he plays it kind of okay. And then the president walks in and kicks him in the balls and says, and I'm quoting loosely, "Shit, fuck, I can't get wet with that. Play something that'll make my cunt go crazy. Fuck."
Yeah. Great.
Yes. And she just never stopped. Like, you know, in those cute shows, like, characters will, like, blah, 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 Icarus, or blah, 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 para. Like, they have their weird little catchphrase. She just ends every sentence with fuck.
Yeah, like there was one time where they were like, okay, we need suggestions for what the band should do. And one, he's like, I want pop music. And you're just like, ah. And then the other guy's like, hey, something, something. She's like, uh-huh. And then, like, the drummer is just like, I really want, some kind of food, like some salmon or something. And she's just like, fuck! And the middle finger just, like, pops up. And that was all she said to that, was just, fuck.
The middle finger is pretty much always up. It's just, it increases in intensity.
And she always has, like, a bottle of some sort of, alcohol. And she's
it's great in
spilling
one episode.
it all over herself.
In one episode, she's got a bottle of Jim Beam, and it's just, like, on the desk, and she's clearly swigging from it. The next episode, she's got a bottle of Wild Turkey.
Great.
But it's like 2 episodes later, it's a bottle of Jack.
Yeah, she's just constantly like spilling it all over herself. But somehow she knows how to run the record company, even though she's completely insane.
But the point of this show is that, I mean, what sums it up is that, he's the front man for this band. He's the lead singer. He hates it. But at the same time, he has this deep down sense of pride in what he does. And I think what will explain to you why the show is awesome more than anything is I think it's the second episode where he's trying to kind of distance himself from his work and he's trying to relax. So he goes out into the street and he's playing his lame, crappy pop music.
And, no one's even paying attention to him. They're just walking by, ignoring him.
But he's happy. And then he hears noise and he looks and there's this crowd of people and they're around some guy who's a fan of DMC. And the guy's like playing a song pretty badly and everyone's getting all pumped up.
Yeah, he's going like, he's basically got a guitar and he's going and he's going rape. And all these people start crowding around this guy with a guitar and a little amp going, woo! And meanwhile, he's sitting there playing his pop music, trying to ignore them, and no one's paying attention to him at all.
But he starts to think like, if I just was the real Krauser right now.
Well, he's like, I'm the real thing, and they're not paying attention to me. They're paying attention to that lame cover band over there. What the fuck?
But then the crowd is like telling him to be quiet because he's getting in the way of their enjoyment of this really lame concert, and he loses it. So he puts on his Krauser costume, and Krauser appears, takes the guitar, and unleashes, he's playing pretty wickedly, but people don't believe it's really him. They're like, would Krauser really be here? How could this be?
Yeah, it could just be someone in a Krauser costume. I mean, if I put on a Gene Simmons costume, and I practice, learning to play some, 5 Kiss songs, go out into the subway and just start rocking out, no one's going to believe it's him at all. And, so I would need to do something to prove that I'm him, like have sex with 1,000 women and have an incredibly long tongue.
So he whips out the patented 10 rapes per second shout. I can't do it.
He basically says he has a lot of these. It's weird because in many ways, the show, while being a music show, sort of similar to Beck, is also very similar to a shonen fighting show where he has all these moves, like special attacks that he uses.
Like the crazy teeth guitar.
Yeah, like he plays teeth guitar. He plays guitar behind the head. That's also a special technique. He has the, the demon... what's it called? The Demon Jewel.
Oh my god.
Everyone in the audience
oh my god.
transfers all their evil power to him, and then he unleashes it in a giant loogie.
Oh my god. The Demon Jewel comes into play in the most horrifying way you can imagine later in the show.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of special moves.
Oh my moa. Unfashionable.
Yeah, the one special move he has is that he can say the word rape 10 times in 1 second. And he does that for one of the songs.
And of course, the crowd is like, oh, it's really him. 10 rapes per second. No human can do that.
There's even a point in the manga where he sneaks up behind someone and he's not in his costume, but he talks in the Krauser voice and he wants them to believe he's Krauser. So he was like, don't turn around. They're like, oh my God, it's Krauser. He's like, how do I know it's really you? You could be faking. He's like, I will say rape. He's like, how can I prove that it's me? He's like, say rape 10 times a second. He's like, he whispers rape 10 times a second. So he's like, rape.
Of course.
It's like, oh, I know it's you. I won't turn around.
There's a plot of one episode where he tries to kick it up to 11.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
His tongue starts bleeding.
In the manga, he gets it up to 12.
What?
I'm not going to tell you, but any more than that, other than there are 12 rapes per second in the manga.
Now, this is where the show shines, where it's just, you get the cut between his real life and his real life, and, his kind of real personality and the Krauser personality, and how he doesn't like being Krauser. He hates Krauser. He hates the band, but yet he's still really, really proud of how good he is at being Krauser because he's great at it. So he keeps having to prove to people how great Krauser is, even though he doesn't want to.
He's also must be getting paid a lot of money to be Krauser, at least relative to what a successful indie band gets, because he doesn't really have to do any other jobs, and he's always, when he's not being Krauser, he can hang out and do whatever he wants, and he's living in a very small apartment, in Tokyo though. And in one episode, the president comes over and is like, "You're living in this tiny fucking apartment? What's wrong with you?" And he has a reason for liking the small apartment. It's where he lived in college, and the guy who's the landlord, he's really friendly with him, and he likes him, and he's a cool guy.
Oh my God, when the guy...
Uncle Shige, or whatever his name is.
The landlord got, because the president decides to metal up his life, so she brings these two Cho Aniki-looking guys over.
Okay.
And she basically forces him. Now, I love this. This is the, I guess, perception.
I think they're more hard gay than Cho Aniki.
This is kind of the perception that I guess Japanese people might have about Americans or about marijuana, but marijuana does not make people act the way marijuana makes him act.
Well, I think that was demonstrating that he didn't know how marijuana makes people act because he's a lame. So it was, I think it was actually accurate in showing, hey, this guy is totally, not doing any drugs or anything, and he smokes the weed, but he doesn't inhale it, and then he pretends to get high, and it's showing you him pretending to get high poorly.
But I love the fact that they basically kidnap the landlord and bring him into this crap, and by the end he's like, "Woo, Detroit Metal City!"
Yeah, even though he's like this old, quiet dude who's kind of cool. He's like a friendly grandpa guy.
The show is full of just memorable moments. I mean, it's okay. After all, I'm a masochist.
Okay.
That was like the funniest moment in the show.
That was a pretty good moment right there. I mean, basically, there's a guy who's part of the band.
He's the capitalist pig.
He's the capitalist pig, right? And basically, he doesn't play any instrument. He just wears like S&M gear, and he sits on the stage, wiggling around, and Krauser kicks him and beats him up during the show. And then after the show, he apologizes to him. He's like, "Oh, did I hurt you?" He's like, "No, it's okay. I'm a masochist. I like getting beat up, whatever." And then, because he in real life, he feels bad about this guy that he kicks around all the time. And he finds out that the guy is working at a convenience store and has a crush on a girl. So he tries to help him out. And to make a long story short, he fails to help him out. And the guy ends up getting hurt, because it's like, oh, he ruined his chances with that girl. And the guy's like, he smiles. He's like, "It's okay. I'm a masochist." He likes it that the guy tried to help him and ended up hurting him because he likes being hurt.
And things just escalate and escalate. I'm not going to ruin this one, but there's a point where maybe a concert hall catches on fire and maybe people are trying to get out, and maybe he has to take his wig off, but people see it. And the way what the crowd assumes is going on when he has taken his wig off versus what is actually happening is very 4chan worthy.
Oh, very much so.
Oh my God.
I think it is very good. The anime is only 12 episodes long, and it covers, I think, about 24 manga chapters, right? Now, I said it covers the first 2 volumes of the manga, but there are a couple differences. The very first chapter of the manga, not in there, not at all, right? 2, there's 2 omakes, because every manga volume has an omake at the end. The first omake is not in there. The second omake is in there. Rem just saw it. And also, one of the chapters of the manga was moved from its original sequence to the end of the entire anime series.
Much like Takahashi Ryosuke in Initial D.
Yes, and that was for dramatic effect, because you need to end the anime series with, some sort of significant chapter. So they just moved a significant chapter where something kind of cool happens to the end. In volume 3 of the manga, there's a tournament. I am not shitting you.
It's a shonen fighting show.
It is in many ways a shonen fighting show, but as soon as that the tournament ends, the shonen fighting aspects diminish, and they sort of go back to the back and forth, regular, the conflict. But see, it's weird. The show has 3 conflicts going on at once, right? You have the conflict of, this this dude has a metal life and a non-metal life. He's not metal, for real, but he is metal for real, and he's got this internal conflict with him and in his daily life between these 2 things, his professional metal life and his regular life. But in his regular life, within that world, he has a conflict of trying to get with this girl, right? And of course, the metal comes in and interferes with that. On the other hand,
girls tried to destroy the metal.
Right. He's got conflicts within the metal world, DMC versus other bands, and DMC trying to make it big, and
when he
DMC trying to, get better concerts and play better music.
But when he has to compete with the Testicle Girls, this punk, anti-man, all-girl band.
And when he competes with this hip-hop guy.
Oh, my God.
Right? And, of course, the fact that he's not really metal comes into play on that side, too. So that interesting sort of, even though a lot of the even though the show is hit or miss a lot of the time, and the manga's really hit or miss, it's like, wow, that chapter was sort of lame, or wow, what happened in the chapter was sort of weird or annoying or stupid or whatever. Other chapters are just like tremendous win. And the fact that there are multiple aspects and different things the show can lean on at different times is what saves it, because in any given episode, even if, something lame happens in one department, there's awesome stuff going on, like in the metal world, and you're like, yeah, so there's always something, even in the bad or the worst chapters, to grab onto. And even though it's the same joke over and over again, it's like when I first saw the show and first found out about it, I thought it was going to be one of those things where, okay, I get the joke, I've seen the first episode, I don't need to watch anymore, it's the same joke 100 times. I could probably watch and or read every DMC ever, even if it's not the greatest.
They make it at least 8 episodes before the rape jokes are not that funny anymore.
Yeah, it's like, even though I can see the jokes coming a mile away and it's not that great and it's not the greatest thing ever, I could still go for it. It's not, it'll still be sort of funny and entertaining.
It's still good. It's still good.
Yeah, it's like an it's still good situation.
I mean, I'll admit, by about right around episode 8, it started petering out for me because they just
definitely
they made the biggest rape joke. Like they made it. It was there.
That was a great episode.
He has performed the greatest rape you're going to see in this show. It's over. That is it. And yet they just keep making less funny rape jokes after that, where I feel as if they'd moved on to another rape joke, a joke that wasn't rape, and they could have done better, but they kept making the rape jokes instead.
Yeah, it does. It peters around and sputters a little bit.
And the other thing I can say is that the Krauser antics parts are always a lot funnier than his real life parts.
I definitely got to say, I also agree that, the parts of the show where it's what's going on in the metal world is definitely the part of the show that I enjoy the most. But when you get to the tournament, right, you're pretty much getting all that. You're getting all just metal world. What's going on with metal,
And that's what I want, because the legend of Krauser is all I really want to see evolving.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like a lot of bands out there try to, either artificially or non-artificially create sort of like this mystical legend around themselves. Even the Beatles have sort of like, that, oh, Paul is dead. Ooh, there's all like these secrets and mysteries and some sort of like, magical history. And if you like look through the CD, the albums and the lyrics, like there's maybe some story that's going on, and that's a thing that a lot of bands, especially metal bands, will do. And in this show, one of the best things about it is they show how accidentally, completely by accident, not trying to, they create this legend of DMC. He killed his parents and raped their corpses and came from hell, and all these things that Krauser has done, are not true, or they're partially true. And it's just kind of cool how you start to think, well, maybe the real bands in the real world who have these sort of legends, maybe they created them by accident also. I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool and kind of clever sometimes how things that happen in the show translate into the legend of Krauser.
Yes, and the big rape that I was talking about really plays into that. Of course, pretty much They're all rapes, at least for the first 8 episodes.
It's not all rapes.
Well, there's the one fire.
A lot of times it's just the word rape without any actual rapage.
Yes, that you won't ever actually see a rape. However, things happen that cause fans and people remembering events to think back and think, wow, he totally raped that blank.
Yeah. He totally killed those cops.
Because remember, Krauser was a demon born from hell who killed and raped his parents. They don't really specify in what order as a child.
Yep.
Yeah. I gotta say, this show
I think the main thing is that while the show, like, it's like if you listen to like a real disgusting offensive metal band, like say a Cannibal Corpse or something like that, that this is like the fact that this is just sort of in a way parodying that, even though it's still doing the offensive things. Really, it's sort of like being offensive with like, you know, a squishy hammer in a way. It's sort of, you know what I'm saying?
Plus the show, watch this with a group of people, because the more people that are in the room with you, the funnier it is all gonna be.
Yep.
I would definitely have showed this at the anime club where I still
100 times a million.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I would have shown like one episode of it at a time.
My recommendation to people is that you should watch, you know, all 12 episodes of the anime, and if you really, really like it, like you watched them all and you're still like feeling it, then you can read the manga. And then there's going to be a live action movie, or there is, it's just not available in English in any way yet, you know, whatever. I'm totally going to watch that no matter what. But I can't say yes or no on it because I haven't seen it. But I'm going to go out and get it ASAP just to see what the deal is. Because if it's a live action movie, they'll actually probably tell, you know, like one cohesive story. There'll actually be people in crazy costumes, and that could be pretty fun, even if it's not going to be good.
But it is a good show, I can say that much. And the opening song, while it's not the best song in the world, Satsugai is pretty catchy.
Yeah, it's like, you look at other shows.
Even though it's not really death metal-y, like, while the lyrics are, yes.
Well, it's not death
like,
metal,
rape,
but it is metal.
Rape your parents, kill everybody, murder.
Yeah.
But it sounds kind of Metallica-ish.
Yeah, it's sort of normal metal. It's not death metal. But the other shows, like look at like Beck, I mentioned before, and some others, right, that are about music, you know, shows about music that are translated from manga, right? Beck was a manga that turned into an anime. And you look in the manga, there are music lyrics. And then in the anime, they actually have songs that match a lot of those lyrics pretty closely, and most of them are actually good songs. Or, you know, and in DMC, in the manga, there are lots of lyrics to songs. And in the anime, they made songs that use the lyrics from the manga. But the songs that they made aren't always good songs, and you can tell that the quality of the songs was often limited because they were trying to stick to the original lyrics as they were in the manga. And as such, like, only Satsugai is sort of a, you know, pretty good, catchy, opening kind of song that can get you a little bit energized. But a lot of the other songs either come off as weird, or they only like sing a very small part of those songs because they obviously didn't come up with an entire song to match the lyrics or whatever. But yeah, it's you know, it's all right. The music will not bother you, and if you like metal at all, you might actually, you know, like some of the music. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
It's more about the jokes than about the music.
Yes. I recommend this show to pretty much everyone.
Anyone.
Plus, if you need any further prompting, I have 3 words for you. Detroit Moe City.
Yeah, that's by far the greatest part. That was the one part that I refused to tell, and I made Rim watch it just before we did this episode.
Oh my god, because it almost, in a way, epitomizes the true spirit of metal.
Yeah, that's the omake from the end of the 2nd volume of manga that, you know, that was animated at the end of, like, I think the 10th episode of the anime. They just stuck it on the end there, and that's really what I, you know, like, not just metal, but all geekeries is like, yes, that is, you know, how even scary geekeries, you know, people are like that. And that's what's awesome, is that kind of thing. And that's how people really are. When you go to like an anime con or a gaming con or any sort of, you know, gathering of like-minded people, that is the sort of, that, you know, that really illustrates the sort of awesomeness and awesome feelings that go down.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geek Nights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.